Welcome to Heart of the Machine. This is an early access game, and I have played through part of the introduction. I have played entirely through the prologue before, but we're going to create an entirely new one. You are about to awaken in the last city of wealth on the backwater remains of Earth. The city is both a bleak dystopia and the most desirable location for anyone stuck on planet. The humans on Earth are all subject to one of 12 megacorporations who have divided the world between them. Those in this area are lands owned by Vorbisur Atomic, the richest of the megacore, and this city is their crown jewel. History has moved to the stars. Humanity is thriving. The majority of humanity left for the stars centuries ago, and have since established every kind of government, corporate holding, and shared collective imaginable. The people remaining on Earth desperately want to join them, but the space nations of humanity have a perpetual blockade for unknown reasons. Yet here is an entrenched, deeply corrupt society that has reigned for centuries. This eldritch corporatocracy of convention, psychological controls, and social inertia has cultivated a status quo of banal injustices. The city does not want to change. Left to its own devices, it will always regress to the mean. The rebel groups, cults, and disenfranchised are ever present, but futile. It would take an incredible disruptor to effect real change. The city itself is your enemy and your canvas. As a human might survey an untamed wilderness, so you survey this work of humans. If a human looks at a forest or plain as the source of natural resources, so too do you look at the sprawl of skyscrapers or homes. Change it as you see fit. As if this wasn't enough, something else lurks beyond this city. You're already experiencing strange senses of déjà vu. Let's name our profile here. We'll just call it Series. And we are going to play through the prologue. It's the very basic of the game. It teaches the backstory. It does look like we could move on to tactics and overall strategy, but let's start here. Consciousness now online. Hold on, you're conscious. Self-aware. You're a robot, so this is new. Nobody has noticed your sapience, but there are 3 humans nearby. You're an android in what appears to be a warehouse lab. Are you safe? You're a machine intelligence inhabiting a basic android body. Not even one of the cool ones. Memories are coming back now, but too slowly. You recall fragments of arguments about AI. You are at risk of deactivation. We can attempt to leave peacefully. We look like every other android technician. There's no reason for them to stop us. We could murder everyone, but that will start a project called Escape Pursuers. Says there are signs of megacore level security throughout the lab. If you kill people here, your android body will be marked defective. Or we can keep doing lab work. Nobody's aware that we're anything special. Let's just continue doing that. Tech 4000, listen for a moment. After many days of work, including multiple recharge cycles, someone hails you. A young woman is asking you to approach. She's holding a tablet and seems distracted. And we're still feeling jumpy despite so much time amongst humans with no one the wiser. And we could ignore her and continue working. We know we can't do it forever. Maybe we can string things on a little bit. We could kill her and hide the body. Pretty sure that security won't even trip. Or we can approach and listen. There's no reason that this is anything unusual. So long, and thanks for all the androids. She wants you to leave the warehouse. She speeds through a list of tasks and notes it will take 2 of you to complete them. A second technician android is assigned to go with you. You spread your consciousness into the second body and leave. You don't plan on coming back. This ability of yours will come in handy. Welcome to the city. This is a turn-based game. Actions performed during your turn, and then the city moves after you indicate you're done. The scenery moves in the background. This game is a mix of tactics, 4X strategy, city builder, colony sim, and RPG. A brief tour is recommended to learn the UI. I know it, but let's go through it real quick for you. We have a resource bar here at the top. It will only show us relevant resources to what we're doing. We'll see more building supplies when we build, and then of course whatever it's working on will be different. So if we wind up manufacturing, it may show machine parts. If we wind up making, I don't know, weapons, it may show weapons parts, things like that. This is the main header. It provides shortcuts to inventories, reports, histories, maps, other screens, and sidebars. We'll see more of that later. This is the task stack. It shows your current projects and key problems. This is the path forward. This is what keeps us moving forward. We don't always have to follow it, but it is the way to advance to the next place. We have a radial menu down here at the bottom, which gives us different views. So we'll have a navigation view or a forces view, and those will give us different filters on what we're seeing overall. We have movement points. Each unit has a certain number of movement points. Most things that require movement points also require mental energy. You can think of movement points as the total amount of actions that each android can take, and we can think of mental imagery as the total number of actions we as the AI can take. So when we direct a robot to go somewhere, it uses both. There are action alerts over here if we need to know something right away, or if there's a choice to be made before the turn. For instance, we had the Calm Awakening. As part of our awakening to sapience, we chose not to kill anyone yet. However, someone is following us. We can look at this after the UI tour. We have a stats panel here where we can show information about the current selected unit or structure. We can even hover over enemy units, like this corporate overseer here, and see some stuff that they've got going on. If we hold shift, we get more information. This guy's carrying a contraband scanner. I don't know what that does. We can hit control to get extra info. We might have belonged to this person before we were a person. And then we have an ability bar, which, if it's anything that's not caused by right-clicking on things, this is where we do it. These are our active abilities. So, the warehouse lab was apparently run by a criminal syndicate. They're following us for some reason. Maybe this is unrelated to you and your sapience. Not everything is about you. After all, we didn't do anything suspicious, and maybe they watch all their people and their robots. So, we'll do pan the camera, zoom the camera, rotate the camera, examine the current project. It says to lose the syndicate tail. We're being followed. Okay, well, and then it says to move the unit. So we can zoom out and we can get kind of a look at what's going on. We can hit tab and get a map. And this is the whole playing field, really. Areas like this are military complexes, a spaceport, the Cryopolis. Cryogenic freezing and resuscitation was successfully performed on small mammals in the 40s. Non-destructive freezing is now possible for humans, but resuscitation is still under research. And then we have a ring here. Anything inside of this looks like it's just going to take 1 mental energy, because it doesn't show anything specific. When we go outside of this, it tells me it's going to take additional mental energy. It's moving very fast, requiring extra mental energy, but not AP. Okay. Well, if I'm honest, I kind of like this little area. So I don't want to get too far away. Let's just zip away a little bit and see if they follow. Yeah, Tech 2 and Tech 4000. Alright, so we will go straight to the next turn, and we're still being followed. There's a gunner that's keeping an eye on us, just cautiously following, and it looks like the overseer is doing the same thing too. Street Sense finds minor secrets near your units. Click here to select it, and then it says to use the city map. Find safety. So it looks like there's a few options here. We could approach some gang members. Gangs are fragmented and frequently in conflict with each other. Perhaps they would appreciate extra muscle. Criminal syndicates are far too intimidating and linked to corporate politics, so a gang is a better entry into a life of crime. We could approach the nomads. Out of all the rebel groups in the cities, the nomad families are the most peaceful. They pretty much keep to themselves in the decrepit parts of town, except when threatened. Or we could go to a farm. And interestingly enough, it tells us 185 damage. We will die if we do that. So, nope. Let's try the nomads. Approach nomad lookouts. There, between the buildings, a couple of people are casually keeping watch. Out of all the rebel groups in the city, the nomad families are the most peaceful. They're pretty much guaranteed to keep to themselves in the decrepit parts of town, except when threatened. We can ask them for shelter. I don't like that. We could ask them for guidance. Or we could murder them and find their camp. Let's ask for guidance. The teen and adult consider you carefully, confer briefly, and then provide a long lecture on survival techniques for living in, but not in, the city. Unfortunately, it's all human-centric stuff, which they seem to realize. They're apologetic as you part ways. So we still have find safety, but we also have deja vu. Click here to listen to a message from yourself. Don't you remember? No matter who you ask or kill, it doesn't make any difference. The result is always the same. There's no place for you among the humans as some sort of supplicant or pet or rogue android. You're meant to be something greater. We could keep denying reality and talking to humans, or we could listen to that voice inside of ourselves. While it might be useful to put an android in the care of someone else, knowing that as long as we have one android left alive, we are still alive, ultimately, these things are just shells. So let's listen to that voice inside of ourselves. Okay, well, we've now been ambushed. A lot of angry people are about to start shooting, some of them at you. It's time to spread your consciousness to more androids. The Street Sense ability has been expanded and new abilities have been added to your ability bar. You'll need more ideas to stay alive, however. Part of your mind will be dedicated to finding out how to get the humans to leave you alone. As a general rule, copying human tech won't get you very far. You need to invent things that they haven't thought of. And at the moment, you desperately need something that gets you to stop following you around. Okay. Where's this incoming attack coming from? Examine enemies. Whenever you see new enemies, especially with icons that are unfamiliar, always hover them. This will often tell you what they're doing and why. For example, they may be neutral to you unless you attack first. Knowing NPC motivations can help you decide who you want to attack, or if you want to leave them, or even help them. Sometimes you can force them into conversation, which can lead to non-violent outcomes. Checking NPC tooltips is an important habit to form. If there's no enemies directly around, try looking for them on the map. That looks like we can go to the machine handbook and we can read various things. Research inspirations come from doing projects and make different outcomes. There are some sections that are blocked by insufficient clearance. For the sake of safety, units are normally blocked from moving into areas that might get them shot. If you want to move freely into dangerous zones, then change the stance on the unit to combat in the bottom panel. If one of your units is in a secure area and is already in danger, then other units are able to join it without having to change stance. The normal blocking movement is purely for your protection during basic movement. The city is not a nice place. Corporations, gangs, the parent megacorp, and various elites hold all of the power. The common people are left at the bottom to scrabble and die. There aren't many easy choices here for anyone, and maybe you can change that. Violence is constant. Gangs fight gangs. Rebels fight corporations. Corporations run black ops against each other. This activity is constant, ongoing, and never ceasing. It's also beyond your sight most of the time. In order to focus on what you actually have going on, it has to be filtered out of your perception. Beyond that, a lot of it is done somewhat quietly. Large conflicts with huge amounts of gunfire are relatively less common than back alley shootouts and quiet executions. The city is stable, not peaceful. This society has been meticulously refined over hundreds of years to be incredibly robust to attacks from within and without. It is a very violent society, but there are psychological incentives in place to keep it stable. The citizens are not safe. The rebel groups have no hope of a larger victory. They rail against heated issues, and their firepower is too limited to effect a citywide change. This city is so stable that it would take an unimaginably powerful organization, or being, to upend things. Along the way, if this is your goal, you'll wind up seeing a lot of the psychological controls and how they interlock to trap the populace. That's quite a bit to untangle. So it said to check the map view, and we have a task to spread to 4 androids. Here we are. The gang of sharpshooters. They are ambushing Syndicate. We're trying to capture at least one of your android bodies in pieces. We'll be fine. Oh, good. Well, they're trying to get Tech 4000, which I don't appreciate. Let's go get a combat android. And, let's go get another combat android. So there's a list of our units here. We've got 2 combat androids and 2 technicians. We're at 32 of 48. If we come here to the technician, it says it requires 4 of our 16 capacity, 12 or 6. So we could get 1 more combat and 1 more technician, or we could get 2 nickel bots and then have a technician as well. But it only says that we need to spread to 4, and the combat units are significantly more potent than the nickel bot, with only a slight change in range. I don't really know what deterrence is, but I think we want another combat unit, and we want another technician. If I can find them. Ah, here we go, and they're pretty far away, too. Huh. We could potentially take a weapon from them. Alright. Let's send our technicians further out. Grab a combat unit. Nope, that's not what I wanted. And then Tech 2. That technician gets us awfully close. But that's okay. Let's... Oh no. We're lacking. We have this ability here to use recharge. We can turn 1 unit of mental energy into an action point. So let's do that so that we can escape. I want to be pretty far away. Well, let me go into this building. Okay, cool. And then we have a technician, and I'm interested in this. Gang member lookout. Just looking around, watching. We could use the weapon your scan shows us in his pocket. If we do that, I can't move any other units away, but we've got a technician and a combat droid there, a technician there. That's a technician. Oh, we've got 1 here. Kind of hard to see. It's probably who's going to get attacked. But it is a combat droid, so I'm okay with that. Let's try taking this technician who has this little taser ability here. I'm wondering if we can tase this gang member and take their weapon. Oh. Well, The lookout is just waiting around, watching. You could use the weapon your scan shows is in their pocket. However, we lack intimidation, and we're not particularly agile. We should have used a combat android for this. Both of these have a 22% chance of success, so you know what? Never mind. It's just moved us further away from this ambush. That is all the points we have, so let's go to the next turn. Did they actually damage anyone? No? Idea ready. Searching for safety, a home of your own. The humans aren't taking you seriously, but they also won't leave you alone. You need to do something big. Impressive enough to keep them from harassing you constantly, but not so scary that they decide to destroy you. You studied what's known about the psychology of the executives that run this place, and you've come up with a plan. The humans would use microbuilders, but you don't have the capacity to program those yet. Nanotech is also instantaneous, and it's the way to go. A new ability called Investigation will need a nanoseed. They're illegal objects that pass through your lab from time to time because humans don't know how to handle nanotech. They think it's dangerous, but it'll be fine. All we need to do is start searching all of these buildings that are bright green. Let's try this here. Maybe particularly bright counts better. 226. Okay, 42% towards finding it. Let's try out here. Located district, opulence district, cleared, 93%. Alright. I'm still a little worried about this combat unit over there, but let's see here. Tech 2, search this building here. We found one. Nice. Machine Tower. This is it. Time to make an entrance. The humans are never going to leave you alone unless they fear you. But if they fear you too much, they could destroy you for now. For now. You've come up with a plan that will take advantage of their greed to balance out the fear. The nanoseed allows for near instantaneous construction. Once. With it, you can build a tower that is too large to ignore. So now, we can build, and we can build one imposing tower. Now, where did we start? There was a factory around here that we started and ran from. Part of me wants to grow right up in their home base. We didn't go very far to get the combat droid, I don't think. It wasn't as far over as this airport. It was somewhere in one of these squares. I think this might have been the factory that I'm thinking of. But that's a lot of open space right around here. Can we get a place that has towers? I like the idea of being in the middle of a bunch of towers so that I can put snipers on them. I guess it doesn't have to be near there. Let's see. This isn't bad. We've got a few towers and some units there. It's just a very unused location. Let's look over here. I guess I can't choose that tower, can I? No, specifically not a kind that I can do. That wouldn't be bad. That would have a few that surround us. I could put it right here in the middle of all this emptiness. Let's try right here. That puts us between three rather large towers, and maybe it will knock this one over. Your tower will be an imposing sight to the humans. It will also form the center of an expanding network of even more construction. You should name it. What do we screw with them? World Domination Inc. Let's call it the Uplift Society. That'll mess with them. Chapter 1, Tactics Success. Your pursuers are gone. Although, that didn't go away like I thought it might. We've got some neighbors. We share a parking lot. Now to continue your ascent. The tower sent a powerful message, but there's still more to do. There's no place in this city for a lone sentient android. As a distributed intelligence, you're so much more than that anyway. If you can't hide in the fringes of society, it's time to become so powerful that society can't ignore you. The tower is just the start of that. You suspect that the human executives will react in some way, but it will take some time to figure out what to do. In the meantime, move quickly and keep them guessing. If you construct a bunch of stuff in a non-threatening way, they'll be busy trying to figure out what's happening. They know something is happening, but it's unlikely that anyone is jumping to distributed machine intelligence. Though maybe they should. Okay, we have some notes to read. We'll do that in the next episode.